Hello everyone, Steve Wiss here, and I'm joined as ever by Kevin Harper, and it's the All Sports Betting Pod Grand Slam of Darts previews, and on to the next instalment, and we're going to conclude the last 16 round on Thursday evening, and we're going to start things off with Daryl Gurney against James Wade, which is quite an interesting fixture actually. James Wade, I think a lot of people didn't give him much of a chance, did they, after he lost against Robbie Green? But he hit back well, beat Phil Taylor in the last group match, and Gurney's the 1-2 favourite roughly here, Kev. Is Wade got a chance in this game, do you think?
He's always got a chance, hasn't he, Wade? Big game player. If you give him chances, he'll take them, and obviously if you don't, he won't. Finalist in this tournament twice. So there's obviously something about this stage that he likes. I think he's got his work cut out, though, I must admit.
Yeah, Gurney's really becoming one of the hot properties in Get Darts, isn't he? He won over in Ireland in the. I know quite a few big name players got knocked out in that, but he still had to do the business, and he was fairly impressive. Especially in front of, you could say, his home crowd. And he's a really great up-and-coming youngster who can score big, can't he? So there's a lot to like about Daryl Gurney.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Grand Prix win was no fluke. Okay, he didn't necessarily have to beat Van Gerwen along the way, which, going back in the day, his opponent here was always criticised for never beating Taylor when he wins his major. But if you go and ask their bank managers if they give a shite, I would imagine the answer would be no on both occasions. Gurney's a world-class darts player, truly world-class darts player who is going many places in the game. Obviously, he's up to number 4 in the world now. That's only going to improve over the next couple of months because he'll be a major contender in the World Championship. Every pound he banks here will go on his world ranking as well because he wasn't in this tournament 2 years ago. And also, he's going to be in the Premier League at the start of next year, particularly if he maintains that number 4 spot in the world rankings. So life must be good for Daryl Gurney right now, but it's no surprise. He's always been able to score. Now that he can finish as well, it's a decent combination. And I don't think he's finished at number 4 in the world, with Gary Anderson defending an awful lot of dosh and the likes of Michael Van Gerwen defending plenty as well. He's going to close the gap on them over the next sort of 18 months or so. And that can start here. I think he'll be too good for Wade. Give Wade credit for qualifying, but an awful lot of things fell in place for him, really. Machin he didn't turn up against him at all, really, did he? And then he done Wade the mother of all favours, beating Robbie Green in that group game prior to Wade playing Taylor. I would imagine when Wade turned up at the Wolverhampton Civic Hall on Tuesday night, he would have been thinking to himself, I've got to beat Taylor 5-2 to have any chance going through, because he would have expected Green to have beaten Machin. But the fact that Machin beat Green kind of eased it off a little bit. He only had to beat Taylor, who was only hell-bent in winning 3 legs anyway, to make sure he topped the group. Yeah. So plenty of things fell in place for Wade. They're not going to here. I think Gurney's scoring power would be too good for him. If he gives Wade chances, he might take them. But is he even going to be close enough to take them? I'm not so sure. I think Gurney's the real deal here. I think he can set up a quarter-final with either Taylor or Webster by coming through with a little bit to spare, actually.
Yeah, and you're willing to back Gurney on this -2.5 handicap. I think the simple question is James Wade playing well enough to test the better players in this tournament? And I would say personally, what I've seen so far, no. I know historically he's not someone to be underestimated, but right now he just doesn't seem to be in that upper level to me.
No, he's not scoring well enough, is he? I mean, that's the be-all and end-all. And if you're not scoring particularly well, every single dart that you get, the doubles more magnified. I mean, you look at his averages so far, they're not the be-all and end-all, of course, but if you look at them, 83.74, 91.47, 90.84, that's in short course darts where you're not going to miss many darts at a double to kind of drain that average. It's, if anything, they're usually sort of escalated over short courses. You compare that with Gurney, 97 in his win against Noppert, 96.08 in his win against Mark Webster, and touching 99 in his win against Darren Webster, and he's scoring well in all of those. I just think he'll pull away from Wade. Wade will have his good legs, but I just don't think he'll have enough of them. Gurney's scoring power is far too good, and even when he's out of legs, Gurney, he can pepper a 180 and just put that. I just think he'll have too much.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Daryl Gurney minus 2.5 legs on the handicap is the bet for that game. Second up is Phil Taylor against Darren Webster. Now, Taylor, I mean, he's been really solid this year, hasn't he, on his retirement lap of honour and all that. Darren Webster, on the other hand, you just never know what you're going to get with this guy, do you? You know, he can be up, down, or anything. Taylor, 1-4 favourite, looks pretty fair to me, unless Darren Webster has one of his really hot nights.
Well, you genuinely know what you're going to get from him against the top players. He's not one of those players that's scared of anyone and beaten before they go up on stage. I'd imagine he'll give a perfectly good account of himself here. But I'd like to think Phil Taylor's just been going through the motions this week. Of course, he had a major escape against Robbie Green the other night, and then couldn't beat James Wade. But as I've just said, I don't think he was particularly interested in beating James Wade. That certainly isn't the first time that Taylor's lost his last group game when he's already been qualified. We do know it will be his last, so that is for sure. I guess every time he steps foot on this stage now could be his last, couldn't it? So it'd be interesting to see if that inspires him to do something substantial. My temptation, my gut feeling is that Webster will keep this close, but I wouldn't want to act on it either way. Neither of them have particularly convinced me that the match will follow the path that I think it will do. But I still expect Taylor to win. I don't think Webster will be beaten out of sight, but I think the handicap's around about right at 3.5 legs. If I could have got another one, maybe I'd have chanced it, but there's no real need to bet on this one.
Misses too many doubles these days, doesn't he, Taylor, really? I mean, his scoring power looks pretty damn hot, really, I've got to be honest, but them doubles have been letting him down, well, for 2 or 3 years, really.
Yeah, but, I mean, in the really big events, though, he's come good, hasn't he? Some of the performances that he's been putting in, particularly in events like the match play, I mean, really, really good. He's still capable. He's still capable of doing it, and even then, will Webster hit the doubles? I don't know. I mean, I would imagine we're going to see the best Phil Taylor of the tournament so far. We'll need to, and if we do, he should win this. How easily he wins it, I guess that'll come down to just how well he plays, really.
Yeah, the third match on, Michael Van Gerwen against Steve Lennon, and Van Gerwen as short as 1.04 here. Steve Lennon, 18-1 shot. Would you back him at 180-1, Kev?
180-1, I'd probably take my chance, but not 18-1. He hasn't got much of a chance, has he? Let's be fair. Lennon, he's just going up there for a good time. It may not be a quick time, but it'll be a good time. He can score. That's one thing that he's got to his advantage. But you're going to have to take nearly every chance you get against Van Gerwen at the minute, and I don't think he's capable of that. We saw that the other night, didn't we, against Barneveld, when he had a chance of getting a break up on him and potentially going on and winning the group and dodging Van Gerwen. He missed doubles, and you can't do that against Van Gerwen. I don't think Van Gerwen's buzzing by any stretch of the imagination, but he's so good over this distance. He'll win the match. Again, I think the handicaps are about right. I was hoping someone would be silly enough to offer a 2.5 180 line on Lennon, but unfortunately they're all 3.5, and I just don't see. I would have taken the overs. I think he's a good enough scorer to cover that, but I just don't see there being enough legs. I think he's going to get beaten fairly comfortably, sort of 10-2, 10-3 kind of mark, and I wouldn't want to be on a bet really, particularly as the alternative is to back Van Gerwen with the 180s. But he's one of those, every time you back him for 180s, he starts pissing about going at bullseye and treble 19 and treble 18 when you don't need it, particularly in a game like this when he's well on top. So another game to leave alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to imagine Lennon getting close, isn't it, here, really? But Van Gerwen has dropped the odd leg this week, and sort of 10-3-ish area you would think would be sort of the right sort of scoreline. The first 3 fixtures of the night, all the matches have got a comfortable favourite in them, but match number 4 looks set for a closer affair. Raymond van Barneveld against Rob Cross. And it's a sign of the times that it's Rob Cross who's the favourite with the bookies here. I've got to say, this guy has really, really impressed me whenever I've seen him recently. He looks the real deal. Someone, his first year on the professional circuit, I do believe. Cross 1.73. You like him in this game. You're going to back him on the handicap. But is there a danger that Van Barneveld's experience at this level will perhaps be a factor to consider?
Not really. I mean, maybe it might have done if Cross hadn't made the European Championship final a couple of weeks ago. But, you know, Cross has played in all the major events this year, played in the World Match Play, took Adrian Lewis, I think it was, to a really close run match. And he's played in all of them since then. End of the day, this is just another game of darts to him. He said it was a sign of the times that Cross is favourite. I don't think it's a sign of the times. I think it's just recognition that Cross is the better darts player right now. And he is. He's comfortably the better darts player. And, you know, Barneveld's still got good performances in him, but he's also still got inconsistency in him. And that's not what Rob Cross is about. He's as consistent as they come. And I think that consistency will wear Barneveld down. He can get annoyed with himself very quickly, can Barneveld. The one thing that may keep him going is the incentive of playing Van Gerwen in the quarterfinals. Obviously, those two had a humdinger of a final here a few years ago. And Barneveld generally does like playing Van Gerwen. Knocked him out of the World Championship a couple of years ago, didn't he? 3 years ago now. So, you know, that might keep him going. But, yeah, I mean, you look at Rob Cross's averages in this tournament, and they're not everything, as I've just said, but 103.87, 104.70, 105.76. The interesting thing about that is he's getting better as the tournament goes along, even though in that third group game, the pressure was at its highest. That says to me, you've got a really, really classy darts player on your hands. Barneveld's averaged 98 in all 3 of his matches, so he's at a level that he's stuck to. But Cross is just, he's not necessarily a sustained 180 hitter, but he's got real scoring power. And apart from that leg the other night where he missed 2 darts at double, generally, and his finishing's really, really good. He's not going to come off the boil over 19 legs, but I fancy if Barneveld misses some doubles early on, he will do. I can see Cross actually running away with this a little bit. I just don't think, if he gets ahead, Cross, I don't think there's a way back for Barneveld.
Yeah, and this is why you're going to get a little bit greedy here, isn't it, Kev? Instead of taking a straight win, you're going to ask for a little bit more on the -1.5 handicap, and let's just hope the dreaded 10-9 doesn't go into play.
Well, I would imagine the 10-9 will only come into play if Barneveld throws first, and in which case, you know, you would expect him to hold on to his throw in a deciding leg with all the marbles on the line anyway. If Cross is going to win this, you wouldn't think he'd break throw in the deciding leg. You know, that's when Barneveld's experience really would come into play. So if Cross is throwing second, he'll have had to have broken Barneveld to win the match. And if he breaks him and holds onto his throw throughout, he'll win 10-8 if he only breaks him once. So I'm kind of taking that chance. Obviously, if Cross throws first and it goes to a deciding leg, then, you know, maybe he might win 10-9. But as I said, I think in a deciding leg, I'd fancy Barneveld. But I just think Cross will pull away from him before then. I can see him winning this 10-4, 10-5, 10-6, something like that.
Okay, so that's the 4 matches talked about. There is one extra bet you're having on the night, and it involves all 4 of them. And you're going to back under 34.5 180s on the night. Just give us a little bit of your thoughts as to why you think this is going to happen, Kev.
I don't think there'll be any close matches on the night, Steve. Not close. Maybe Barneveld might keep his match a little bit closer than I anticipate. And let's say they all average 10-7, which clearly they're not because Lennon's not going to get nowhere near 7 legs. But if they were to all average 10-7, that's 68 legs of darts. So you'd need more than 180 every other leg. You look at the players on show. I mean, who's really going to get you that kind of level? Van Gerwen might do, but he's not going to need to. Daryl Gurney might do, but again, he's not going to need to. Who else? You know, James Wade doesn't hit many 180s. Phil Taylor doesn't hit many 180s. Darren Webster doesn't hit many 180s. If Lennon's not around for long enough, he's not going to hit too many 180s either. And then you're only really left with Barneveld and Cross. Well, Cross, he can hit 180s, but he hits an awful lot of 140s. And he's definitely someone who's not afraid to switch to other trebles if his darts aren't laying perfectly. And, you know, if that game's won a little bit easier than I think it will be, I don't think the 180s are going to flow in that one either. I can see it going up to that 4th game only around sort of 20, maybe 21 180s, and I don't think we're going to get 14, even if it goes 19 legs in that last game. So it just looks a high line to me, the 180s here, particularly when you factor in really at least half of the field don't hit the damn things.
And what bookmaker is that?
Bet Victor.
Bet Victor. So 3 bets on the night. That under 34.5 180s. Daryl Gurney -2.5 on the handicap to beat James Wade, and Rob Cross -1.5 handicap to beat Raymond van Barneveld. So thanks very much for your thoughts on those games, Kev. We'll be back for the quarterfinals on Friday. So yeah, best of luck, and we'll see you all then.
Cheers, Steve. Yep, first 2 quarterfinals on Friday. Should be good viewing. Should be good betting. Hopefully we've got some winners before then, and I'll see you Friday.
See you around, everyone. Take care.